morning. Yes, it's Sunday, June 7th, and I hope everyone is having an awesome day. I hope today is a relaxing day, to get everyone in get everyone energized for this week ahead. Now, I'm not sure if you have to work today. I know a lot of people work each and every day, right? But I wanted to come on and do this video because I just finished watching the Matt Finess video. Matt Finess is the ex-bodyguard of Michael Jackson. He's also like a master martial artist. I'm not sure if you could be a, a master or whatever. I'm not sure how you say that title, but I do know that he is a martial artist. He said he taught Michael and his brothers to all get to black belt status. And he has a chain of martial artist studios and daycare centers, things of that nature in the UK because he's based out of the UK. Now, I wanted to do this video because, I was conflicted when it came to the Michael Jackson movie, right? Like, I didn't want to see the movie because I didn't know what the movie was going to show or what they were going to talk about when it came to Michael Jackson. And I really didn't want to see, the whole actual abuse with the children and everything. I thought that was going to be in the movie, and it wasn't. And I was so glad to hear that, and I still wanted to see it, but I just didn't get around to seeing it. But I will go see it anyway. That movie has is the most. I think it's the highest gross earning movie that's been out here. Documentary, whatever you call it, and it is from Michael Jackson. So big ups to that. Okay, I've watched people. What's up, Chris? You saw the movie? It was good. Yeah, I'm gonna see it. I'm definitely going to see it. I just haven't had time to. But it's crazy because it's just been so much going on. But anyway, so since you've seen the movie, then this would interest you a little bit. So it's this guy, his name is Matt Finesse. He used to be Michael Jackson's bodyguard. He was his bodyguard for 10 years. And I believe he started bodyguarding Michael Jackson in 2000. But he did an interview on the Art of Dialogue talking about his time, the time that he spent with Michael Jackson. And he was there, of course, when Michael Jackson, well, he knew Michael Jackson when Michael Jackson passed away. So he was just there to give his opinion about how he felt about Michael Jackson and what he felt about him passing away and everything, right? So let's talk about it. So I thought it was important because Michael Jackson music, y'all, is just, oh my goodness, it's just amazing. It's amazing. If you are a Michael Jackson fan, then you know, right? But his music is just inspiring. It's like timeless. It's going to go down in history. So to see the documentary come out, to hear that it was actually a good documentary, it didn't talk about all the mess and the madness. That was a good thing. Like, I'm really glad they did that with the movie. Now, I do know that allegedly, Netflix is supposed to be coming out with a documentary about these people who are wanting to sue Michael Jackson's estate for saying that they were abused by Michael Jackson, allegedly. So that's going to be coming out real soon if it hasn't already come out. So, thank you, Bard. Thank you. What's up, everyone? Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed, okay? And give me a thumbs up. I really would appreciate it. Yes, so I thought it was important to do this video. Okay. I'm gonna have to check that out in 2 weeks. So BET, oh, that's what the big guy. Yeah, the guy who's hosting that. What's his name? Drewski. Yeah, definitely gonna have to watch that because that's gonna be good. Okay, I've been getting away from watching the awards, But the American Music Awards looked like it was actually a whole vibe, and I really wish I would have watched it, but I only got to watch the clips. But the BET Awards, I may just have to watch that with Drewski. Right? Yeah. Yeah, MJ, man, I'm just telling y'all, like his music. Oh my goodness. I was listening to music yesterday because it's just been raining crazy here in H Town. And not today, but yesterday it was just raining and raining. I was like, oh my goodness. I hate when it just rains like this. And it's like you still have to keep yourself in a good mood, still have to be productive, whatever. So I started listening to music and then I got stuck on his music. And then I ended up watching the Art of Dialogue's video this morning, talking about when they did the interview with Mike Finess. So Mike Finess was the ex-bodyguard of Michael Jackson. He was with Michael Jackson in the last 10 years of his life. He said that when he was with him, he know for a fact Michael Jackson was not gay. He said Michael Jackson loved women. He would actually pick out women and tell his security to send the women up to his room. And I was like, look at Michael. Okay, look at he said as many women, as plenty of women that Michael Jackson was in a relationship with. And he said he's actually surprised that none of the women have actually come out and told their story. And he also said that Mike Finesse, this is the ex-bodyguard, he is from the UK because he spent a lot of his time back and forth from the UK to America when he was the bodyguard for Michael Jackson. He did an interview on Art of Dialogue. Y'all go check him out. On that channel. The video is 2 hours long, but it's so interesting. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. Okay, it's just learning about Michael. I'm like, like all in. Like I want to know, right? But anyone who's a Michael fan, you would definitely understand what I'm saying. But anyway, he said how back then when he first started bodyguarding for Michael Jackson, he said a lot of the tabloids would contact him about getting pictures, like setting Michael Jackson up to get pictures of the children or find out information if he was messing with any other children or anything. And he said he never witnessed anything like that. He said Michael Jackson was a great man. He said he was just a kind-hearted person. He said he helped so many people out. He was loving. He was caring. He said he was the sensitive one. And his family, his brothers and his sisters, his mom, dad knew that he was the sensitive one. And they always tried to protect him. But he said Michael kept his distance from them because he thought that they wanted to get the band back together, the group, the Jackson 5. He said he thought that they wanted to get the group back together. And in reality, I really think Mike Finesse really believed that Michael didn't want to get too close to the family because he had that addiction to the rugs with the D. Okay, if you don't know, allegedly Michael was addicted to taking like medical grade medications that people would use for like anesthesia if they were about to have surgery. And allegedly, that's how he passed away. He was taking medication and then somehow he ended up passing away. So Mike Finesse said that pretty much he didn't say it, but I'm thinking I put one and two together. I think that's why Michael was probably trying to keep himself away from his family, because if Michael was real close with his family, he probably would still be alive, in my opinion. And Michael Finesse also said the same thing at the end of the interview. He said he believed that if Michael was around his family, he would still be alive because they would keep him energized. They would make sure he's safe. They would make sure he wouldn't have so many doctors around him that just gave him whatever he wanted. Because, if you don't know, Dr. Conrad, which was the doctor who was at the house with Michael, even though Mike Finesse said Michael Jackson had many doctors, and many doctors were giving him medication, including Dr. Conrad, allegedly. And he said that Conrad, in his opinion, was the fall person for Michael. And of course, but he said when he talked to Conrad, because Conrad contacted him after Michael passed, after he got out of jail. Conrad, the doctor, contacted Michael Finess, the bodyguard, because he knew that that was one of the last people that Michael had talked to. I believe Mike Finess said he spoke to Michael Jackson 2 days before he passed away, and he was in the UK. And so he was preparing with his family to get everything lined up so that he can get on tour with Michael Jackson. But then, of course, Michael Jackson passed away because Michael was supposed to be doing a tour. He was doing a lot of practicing and stuff so that he could be on tour, passed away in the meantime. But yeah, it was a great interview. It felt like Mike Finesse was being very truthful in what he was saying. I mean, he was telling stories back to back to back to back. He really didn't have to get asked questions. He was just telling like a whole lot of information that you would never know or even think of when it comes to Michael Jackson, about just how good of a person he was, how he was on a lot of rugs from a lot of doctors that would just give him whatever he wanted. And, I thought it was real cool. He said that Michael didn't really stay too close with his family. He was asked if Michael Jackson was close with Janet. And he said, actually, Michael really wasn't close with Janet. He said that they were both signed to different labels. And I believe he felt like, just like I felt from hearing the conversation, that the labels, because they were with two labels, it's like a comparison. So now we can't even talk together because we're on separate labels, different labels. But you don't hear a lot of information about Janet Jackson reaching out to Michael Jackson or anything. And I thought it was real strange how the Michael Jackson movie came out like a little bit before, like a week before or days before Janet Jackson's birthday. And she didn't go to the event, she didn't go to see the movie or anything. She was nowhere a part of that. And I wonder if something happened between them, because they did a song together, they did a video together, right? And they also did a documentary or something together, the Scream documentary. I believe it was on Netflix. But Mike Finesse said when they did that, they weren't together. They didn't see each other. Michael Jackson did his part, sent it in, and Janet Jackson did her part, and they put the two together. But he said they hadn't been talking. He said he'd never heard of her calling Michael, and he'd never heard of Michael calling Janet in the time span, the 10 years that he was bodyguarding for Michael Jackson. So he said that Michael Finesse said that he was in a newspaper article in the UK because of him opening up a martial artist studio and being very successful. And I guess he got a lot of fame around his studio, and he was in his early 20s. And then someone who knows Michael Jackson reached out to him and then got him linked up with Michael Jackson. And then he said that, he actually, he knew the guy and the guy knew Michael, but he had never met Michael before through the guy. He said one day the guy called him and said, look, trust me on this, okay? He said, I want you to come out. It's like hella early in the morning, but I want you to come out and I want you to meet somebody, but I can't tell you who it is. And he said he ended up going, and he went. It was the middle of the night or early morning, and it ended up being Michael Jackson. And that's how he was introduced to him. He told him all about his martial artist artistry, and Michael Jackson loved it and asked him to be his bodyguard. And then so he said for a while he wasn't the bodyguard, he was more like just there with the other bodyguards. And then eventually he took on that role as actually being the bodyguard. He said he was the one who was holding the umbrella for Michael Jackson during that trial. He said Michael Jackson did in fact have vitiligo, the where your skin is blotchy. I know a lot of people didn't believe that Michael Jackson had it, including me. I didn't believe that was a thing. I thought maybe he was bleaching to be lighter because I didn't believe that was his normal voice as well. And I just believe, that little voice is not a real voice. I think that was more of the innocent Michael, like who Michael really wanted to be. And listen, y'all, I'm gonna explain it to you just like this. So DDG, right? That's Haley Bailey girl, the singer. Her baby daddy, DDG, he did an interview on Cam Newton's podcast, right? And his voice, y'all, I've never heard his voice like that before. It's so freaking deep, it sounds scary. It sounds like, you remember the movie Scream and how you have that voice on the call? He's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's real deep, right? I didn't know that DDG, I don't know what he does. Is he a model or something? Anyway, I know he's the baby daddy of Haley. But his voice is super deep. I mean, it's so deep, it's scary. Y'all go check that out because Cam Newton put out a clip of him talking in his normal tone, which is that deep voice, and then him talking in the regular tone that we're used to hearing, which is kind of soft, but it's still masculine. But anyway, I'm saying all that to say that I know that people could change their voice up. Because actually, Michael Finess said that one time Michael didn't trust him. So he said he got a phone call from this famous a newspaper in the UK, and they were saying they would pay him £1 million if he was to get pictures of Michael Jackson's children. And he was like, no, and hell no, I'm not going to do that, whatever. And he said he got in contact with Michael Jackson, and he told him that, they reached out and asked him, told them they would give him money for some pictures of his children. And Michael was like, oh, I'm so glad you didn't sell me out or anything. And he was like, no, never. And he said, then Michael turned around and said, that was actually me. And he said he didn't believe him. And then Michael started talking in that tone. And he was like, oh, wow. He said he sounded just like the guy who was on the phone. And that's not Michael's regular voice. So he said, he wasn't really sure. He was just weirded out about it. But at the end, he said Michael was paranoid. But of course, he had to be paranoid. He had a lot of people coming after him. He was receiving a lot of death threats that Mike Finess also addressed. He mentioned that Michael was receiving death threats. From a lot of different people. So I thought that was real interesting. And I know how people can change up their tone, right? Because I could change up my tone. I think we all can, right? But I just don't believe Michael Jackson's voice was always that soft. And I swear, and so I would get to something. So Mike Finesse said that because he was asked, did Michael Jackson talk about Diana Ross a lot, or did he spend a lot of time with him during the time Mike Finesse knew him? And he said no, actually he spent more time with her son than her. And I thought that was very strange because I have a theory that Diana Ross' son is Michael Jackson's son. And I just say that because he has that voice. And his voice sounds just like Michael. He's very light his speech is very he sounds just like Michael Jackson. And I don't know if he's trying to emulate him. He's real sweet, just a very sweet boy. Like all the movies he play in, he's just a sweet soul. You could tell. He even was in Usher's video, Usher and LMA video, Don't Waste My Time. He came in and he was like, "Hey, yeah, how you doing?" Sound just like Michael Jackson. And I remember when I saw that video, that's when I said, "That's Michael Jackson's son. That's his son right there." Because he was in love with Diana Ross. Allegedly, he wrote that song, "Dirty Diana," about Diana Ross, but I'm not sure. Hold on. Excuse me. But I'm not quite sure, right? My throat felt dry. I need some water. But anyway, but yeah, that's just what I think. I don't know. Diana Ross' children are by three different men. I believe she just have the three children, and they are by three different men. So, one's by Berry Gordy. That girl looks just like Berry Gordy. She's the oldest one. And then you have the one who played on Girlfriends. I forgot her name. And then you have that young man who I believe is Michael Jackson's son. But anyway, I don't know. That's just a theory of mine. Anyway, so Mike Finess also talked about how Michael Jackson didn't have a lot of friends, but he had friends. Like he knew a lot of people, but a lot of people wouldn't come see him. They didn't spend time with him. They didn't call him. He said one birthday he meant to call Michael Jackson, but he knew he would probably be flooded with calls. Happy birthday calls, people trying to talk to him. And he said he contacted Michael after his birthday, and Michael said, "Yeah, no one actually called me, but he said, but mother called me, and I spent the day with my children, and we had cake, and that was it." And Mike Finess said, he felt real bad because he thought, Michael Jackson would be flooded with calls because it was his birthday. But he said that he was asked like who was Michael Jackson friends, and he said Chris Tucker. He said Bill Clinton. And so let me real quickly here. Oh, that's what's up. Yeah, I know that concert is going to be fire. Okay. So, speaking of Chris, but he said that Bill Clinton used to contact him a lot. And he said a lot of people would contact him to help them, like, if they were seen with Michael Jackson, it'll help their careers. It'll help them get acknowledgement from other billionaires, millionaires, things of that nature, right? And Mike Finess said that he believed Bill Clinton, that's what he was trying to do when he kept reaching out to Michael Jackson, because he said he kept inviting Michael Jackson to the White House, and Bill Clinton, Michael Jackson wouldn't come see Bill Clinton at the White House. So it made me think, because Bill Clinton and Chris Tucker are real tight. They're real tight. And of course, both of them was on the Epstein island and plane and everything. And Michael Finess was asked about that. He asked if he was asked. No, I think he just told. He wasn't asked about it, but he said that Michael Jackson was in the process of looking for a lot of houses. So he had like 10 or 11 houses that he was in the process of looking at with a realtor. And he said every house he would go to, he would have to take pictures with the house staff because they didn't know he was coming. But once he was there, everybody wanted to take pictures with him. So he said they went to all these houses. It was real boring. Michael didn't like none of the houses. And he said they went to Epstein house. And Epstein ended up asking Michael Jackson for a picture with him. So if you don't know, Michael Jackson allegedly is in the Epstein files as they have a picture of him with Epstein. And so Michael Finess spoke on this. He said, no, he said Michael Jackson didn't even know who Epstein was at the time. He said those houses was on his list of houses to view that day. He said they went to view 11 houses, and Epstein was in one of the houses, and he asked for a picture with Michael Jackson, and that's how that famous picture of Michael Jackson and Epstein got taken. He said Michael Jackson did not know Jeffrey Epstein. He said no one knew Jeffrey Epstein at that time, not until everything came out, and he ended up getting arrested that first time. So I thought that was real. I thought that was real. That put a lot of links together for me. And also back to the Chris Tucker and Bill Clinton, because Chris Tucker and Bill Clinton are real close, right? Because Chris Tucker said that he ended up meeting Jeffrey Epstein because of Bill Clinton, right? So Chris Tucker and Michael Jackson, okay, we about to put some puzzle pieces together here, okay? So Chris Tucker and Michael Jackson were real close friends. Allegedly, Michael Jackson spoke to Chris Tucker soon before he passed away. So they were that close. So I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking, because Mike Finess didn't get into how Chris Tucker met Michael Jackson or anything. But I'm thinking because Mike Finess taught Michael Jackson and all his brothers how to do martial art. He said they went all the way up to being a black belt in martial arts, right? So remember, Chris Tucker was in the Rush Hour movies, right? So he was in a he was portraying a role, as a martial artist with Bruce Lee. Was it Bruce Lee? I'm not sure. I don't think it was Bruce Lee. I forgot the Asian guy that Chris Tucker was in that movie with. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong, but it's definitely not Bruce Lee. I know that. I'm not sure what that guy name was. Anyway, but I'm thinking when that movie came out, Michael Jackson probably reached out to Chris Tucker, and they probably end up becoming friends then, and then they stayed friends, and then somehow, I don't know, before or after, Chris Tucker and Michael Jackson became friends, but Chris Tucker ended up being friends with Bill Clinton. Now, if you think about it, right? Okay, Epstein collected this picture of him with Michael, or took this picture with him and Michael Jackson. Of course, he kept it. And because Mike Finesse said that was the first and only time that Michael Jackson saw and knew of Epstein. So I'm thinking Epstein said, you know what, I could use this. I don't know. I don't know why Epstein kept that picture of him and Michael Jackson, but if you think about it, why not? Because Michael Jackson is a huge celebrity, right? But it doesn't make sense why Bill Clinton and Chris Tucker were on Epstein Island. They were on Epstein's private jet, plenty of times going back and forth to different places. But I'm thinking, I wonder if Bill Clinton or Chris Tucker were trying to get Michael Jackson involved in the Epstein stuff, or get on the island or get on the plane or something. Because, that's how people get used, right? My throat is just dry. I really would get something to drink, but I'm really trying to wrap this video up real quick. But yeah, so I'm thinking that could have been part of some type of setup or something. Because if Michael Jackson would have got on Epstein's plane, that would have been historical, right? Like, that would have just been crazy. But Mike Finesse said Mike wasn't like that. Mike driving his own plane, he driving his own car, he has his own security. He said when Mike show up, he calling you right before and saying he come in, can he walk in, like that. So I don't think Michael Jackson is, because he was so paranoid about being taken out because he believed people were after him trying to, murk him. And so it makes sense. But I really wonder if Chris Tucker was offered, we would never know, right? Money to get certain types of information from Michael Jackson. But the way Mike Finesse talked, Michael Jackson kept him and his children private and separate from everyone he knew because he was afraid, he was fearful of, losing his life, and he definitely didn't want his children in harm's way as well. So Mike Finesse said that he had his children living in hotels. They weren't living with him. So, that's a whole another thing, right? He just wanted to make sure his family was protected. Anyway, what else did Mike Finesse say? He said a lot, but I thought that was real interesting because I was wondering, like, how did Chris Tucker, a guy who was on the movie Friday as Smokey, how did he get to be friends with Epstein and Bill Clinton, the president? Because even though Chris Tucker played Smokey in Friday, he said that wasn't his life, because that's how he ended up getting into the Rush Hour movies, because he said he didn't want to live that type of life, so he said, and he didn't want that image to follow him in history. He was actually ashamed of playing that role as Smokey in Friday. Chris Tucker said that. So, and then you see him now, well, he hasn't did anything. Like, I haven't seen him in any movies after that. And yeah, so I don't know how that worked out for him, but somehow he ended up getting connected with Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein. So that's real strange, in my opinion. But anyway, so if something come out later, we already got this bits of information sitting over here in the vault, right? That's how I think about a lot of different things. We might not know how to put the pieces together right now, but later on we're gonna put them pieces together and we're gonna figure this thing out, right? That's how my mind works. But that's why I watch a lot of different interviews with a lot of different people, because you can't just stick in one area and think you're going to hear everything. Nah, you got to get out your comfort zone. You got to watch different people. You got to listen to different stuff, because it all will start telling the story. Right. But back to Mike Finesse. So what else did he say? He said that when Michael Jackson dangled his child over the balcony, he said right before that happened, there was a um, what would you call it? Like a journalist who was with his doctor, and the three of them, the journalist, the doctor, and Michael Jackson, they left the area that everyone was in. Michael Jackson came back, and Mike Finesse says he believed Michael Jackson had received some type of drugs or something, and because that's what the doctors normally did, kept him medicated. And then that incident happened, and he said the Child Protective Services came right there a couple of days later, because the industry, because it was going viral all over everywhere on the news here in America, but that happened somewhere in the UK, right? But Mike Finesse said that guy who was with the doctor, he believed he set that up for a photo op, hoping to get a picture of the baby. He think he had paparazzi out there because he probably was trying to set something up. So it makes sense when you hear that Michael Jackson didn't feel safe around people. He couldn't trust people because of people like this. And he actually did a documentary with that guy, because that guy told him that he did a documentary for Princess Diana. And come to find out, the guy lied about it, about how he got information about Princess Diana. He didn't get um, actual permission. He lied and falsified a document saying that he allegedly got this information about Princess Diana and was the one who did like her documentary or something. And it wasn't him. It turned out to be a whole nother journalist or something. So yeah, so I mean, Michael Jackson being real paranoid about the people around him makes a lot of sense because the people around him were dirty. Okay. Mike Finesse also talked about how Eminem like couldn't stand Michael Jackson for a long time. He said he talked about him in one of his songs. I forgot which song it was, but he said in the video of that song, he took off his nose and threw it on the bed, talking about Michael Jackson nose. But he said that a lot of artists were upset with Michael Jackson because Michael Jackson owned their publishing. But this is my thing about that publishing ownership thing. Because if Michael Jackson wouldn't have brought it, somebody else would have brought it. So, I mean, if you couldn't buy it, why are you mad at Michael Jackson for buying it? Like, if he didn't have it, somebody else will have it because it was up for grabs. It was up, so it's like you're mad at him, but really you should be mad that you can't afford to buy your publishing back because get your money up and you could have, but whatever. Anyway, he said that Eminem was one of those people. He was real angry. And he said a guy called Michael Jackson and gave him the business. He was very upset about Michael owning his publishing. He said a guy, and he said he was very upset. He said he went off on Michael Jackson, but he wouldn't tell who it was. He said, I'm thinking, who, what? And then after that, he started talking about Eminem. So I'm not sure if it was Eminem because right after that, he started telling us how bad, how Eminem went after Michael Jackson. But he also said that Eminem ended up being okay with Michael Jackson after that and letting that grudge go. So he said he believed that Eminem was probably just real immature at the time and didn't think the whole thing through because he was actually okay with Michael Jackson sometime after that whole everything happened. So that was good to hear. But if you think about it, like, it's crazy because he said Michael Jackson was cash poor, but asset rich. And I'll try to talk about that a lot on this channel because a lot of people think these celebrities have all this money. They think they're so rich. And these celebrities be broke as hell. They be asset rich, but money poor. Okay? Like the money they have in their bank account in their pockets don't total up to much of nothing. They be struggling. Okay? And then they have a lot of assets. So Mike Finesse said that Michael Jackson was like that. He said that last deal he did, or the last record that Michael Jackson came out with, Sony was able to get Michael to sign a contract, allegedly sign a contract stating that if that album didn't produce this amount of money, if it didn't make this amount of money, then Michael Jackson would give up all his all the publishings that he owned to Sony, and that would cover the cost. And of course, they didn't promote Michael Jackson. He was real upset that Sony didn't publish him like they normally do. You know how when an artist when they're about to come out with an album, usually they go on this whole press tour, right? They go to a lot of different places, meet a lot of people. You hear about it everywhere, especially back then, right? You hear about it on all the social media, all the TV stations, on the radio stations. You hear about it everywhere, right? Michael Jackson was upset because he said Sony didn't they didn't do anything to promote his album. And he was real upset about that. And he had already signed his contract over for the publishing, signed his publishings that he owned for the Beatles, for Beyonce, for Eminem, for Paul McCartney, um, Elvis Presley. He, when he did that, he said Michael Jackson was thinking in his head, "Oh, I know I can make this money. Like, that's a no-brainer." Sony said that they didn't have all this money to put up for his album. So they got Michael Jackson to sign a contract saying that if they don't make all this money, like Michael Jackson thought he was going to make, and we don't know if he actually made it or not, because I'm pretty sure they can mess with the numbers, right? Think about how your voting rights, right? Those numbers can be hacked. We know that, right? So anyway, Michael Jackson last album didn't do the numbers. Michael Jackson had to give up those publishing rights to Sony. Sony were able to collect all those publishings that Michael Jackson owned for all those huge artists, okay, which was worth $1 billion at that time, is now worth, like Mike Finess said, like $200 billion. All the publishings, if he would have still had them, but which is crazy. So that hurt Michael Jackson real bad. So that made him go deeper into a depression. He was trying to get a residency with Vegas, and Vegas wouldn't give him the residency because they were told that he didn't show up for jobs, and they didn't want to have any problems with him not showing up for the shows. So they wouldn't allow Michael Jackson, y'all, to get a residency in Vegas. Wow, to me. I think that's all Sony, but I don't know. Who am I? That's just my opinion. This is all alleged. But so Mike Finesse said that Michael Jackson didn't have money like that. But since he was a celebrity, if he was to go to a certain hotel and be seen there at the hotel, then that would be like his way of bartering with the hotel. So instead of paying money to stay at the hotel, he would show his face. So then, of course, fans of Michael Jackson would want to come to the hotel and support and everything. So he said he did a lot of bartering. Bought. Well, I can't even say the word bartering. Y'all know what I mean, right? Like I say, I appear here. You don't have to pay me because I owe you, but I appear at your show and do a concert. You don't have to pay me anything because that's going to be my payment to you because I owe you for something. Bartering. Look it up, hell. But so he said, yeah, that's what he said. Michael Jackson was getting a lot of loans. He owned the loans, the interest he owed on a lot of loans. His interest was high. He said he was in debt like $500 million when he passed away, and his assets were worth like $1 billion, 2 billion, or something like that. And then, of course, you know, once he passed away, then his estate is now worth billions of dollars. But his family only have access to a certain amount of that, or a certain portion of, I guess the estate only owes a certain things. And so them putting the movie out, the Michael Jackson movie that just came out, his family putting that movie out really helped take care of the kids, really helped put money in their pockets to kind of secure their future. And he said they're probably going to do a part 2 or something. I don't know. Great interview with Mike Finess that he did on the Art of Dialogue. Y'all go check that video out. Like I said, it's about 2 hours long, but it's a great video. It's a great interview. Great interview. Loads of information in there about Michael Jackson. Just there. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I could think to talk about when it comes to Michael Jackson and that interview. I really appreciate Mike Finess for coming out and doing that interview and talking about Michael Jackson. He did say that he has his own social media. Y'all could look him up. He wrote a book just recently as well, just like a lot of other people have wrote a book, and they talk about a little bit about Michael Jackson as well, and everything they have going on. But yeah, great interview. If you got this far, thank you so much for watching. I know this was extremely long, but we're talking about Michael Jackson here, y'all. Okay, so I'm going to put up Mike Finette's picture in here because I'm pretty sure I can't put up Michael Jackson picture because he's Michael Jackson. Okay, like. And I just realized that because I'm still getting used to um, doing things the legal way here on YouTube as a content creator. You know, you not supposed to say certain things. You can't put up just normal pictures. Like a lot of times, y'all don't even know. I'll put up a picture of an artist or a celebrity, and then YouTube will tell me I got to take the picture down. They said your video was flagged. They'll send me an email real quick, okay, and say my video was flagged for copyright infringement, and like it's happened so much. I'm like, shit, you know what, like I don't know what to put up, what I can, but I do have a picture of Mike Finesse, so I'm gonna put that on this video here, because what's up, Matthew Rivera Sanchez, hello, hello, hello. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, you guys. Oh my goodness, OMG. Okay, thank you so much for watching this channel here. I really appreciate you guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Y'all, I'm almost at 800 subscribers. I'm so happy. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do when I reach 1,000 subscribers, but I know I'm going to get the balloons. I'm going to have the balloons behind me until they deflate. And I told y'all before that I'm a type of person, I love a balloon. I will keep a balloon up. Look here. This is my Mother's Day balloon. It's still up and going. In my office here. It's still floating around. I'm not gonna let it go until it's on the floor. Once it's on the floor, then you know it's like, okay, I give up. I can't do it no more. I can't do it. Let me go. So I'm gonna definitely put up the 1,000 here, and then when I get the 100,000, y'all, I'm just so excited. Real quick, I remember saying I could have been did this channel and I could have been going when it comes to this channel here. But I was so afraid. I was so afraid. It's stupid. I can't talk to y'all. Y'all can't talk to me. So really, if I'm on the video, I don't know what y'all thinking or saying. It's like, I don't even know. Out of sight, out of mind, right? But I was just so like, I don't know what to say. I don't know if I should do it. And then I end up just doing it and going all in. And this year and every year after, I'm just going to go real hard and blow up my channel. So when years from now, when you look back on these type of videos, you're going to be like, oh, I see. She was new then. I see. You're going to really be able to tell the difference from me just changing and getting more comfortable. But actually doing these videos, oh, my biggest dream ever. My biggest dream is to blow up this YouTube channel. Yeah, that's it. I want to be monetized on YouTube because like I was saying, I was thinking I could do it, but then I was like, I can't do it. You know, I was doubting myself. And I remember when this channel only had like 64 subscribers. I only had 64 subscribers, and I was thinking it was going to be real quick. And then I just kept doing it, and then I gained. I remember when I got my first 100, y'all, subscribers, I was so happy. You couldn't tell me nothing. And then now, Oh, thank you, Matthew Rivera Sanchez. I really appreciate it. I hope you're subscribed as well. Thank you so much. And I hope your biggest dream come true as well. Because if you believe it and you put the work behind it, I believe you can make it happen. And you can't tell me nothing now. Because now I'm like, I should have been did it, but that's okay. It's all right. Because what we're doing right now is we're going to do it. All right. We're just going to do it. No more doubting myself. So that's the big lesson for everyone. Okay. If it's something you want to do, if you have this biggest dream, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Sanchez. If you have a dream about doing anything, I don't care what it is, even if it doesn't look like it's possible to happen, make that dream happen. Okay? Do the work, put the work in to make it happen. See yourself doing it, right? See yourself as that celebrity. I see myself or as that I don't want to be a celebrity. I'm gonna be honest. I'd rather have the money without the celebrity. I don't want to have to not be able to go to the grocery store or the corner store and stuff like that. Like I don't want those issues or problems. Like, because that's crazy. Because everything I do, people be talking about my drama and my my business like I do theirs, right? So I don't want that. But the YouTubers are blowing up on a whole nother level though, y'all. Okay? It's a lot of YouTubers are getting like big recognition. Like Drewski. Drewski was just a YouTuber. He was with Diddy though. So that's kind of like cheat code because he knew somebody. But Kaisa Nate was just a YouTuber. Okay? He's blown up. Who else? It's a couple other people. Oh, the girls, Haley and her sister, they were on YouTube singing, and Beyonce contacted them and got them on her label and everything, and they blew up. So it's like you may not see the out the out how things are going to all come about, but you don't have to see that. It's like I tell my children, like you don't know what's down the street and around the corner. It's like when you go into a parade, when you're watching a parade. You ever been to a parade before? You're out there and you wait, and let's say it's the Christmas parade, right? You're out there and you waiting. You don't see Santa Claus nowhere. Santa Claus is at the end of the parade, right? He's the finale. Once you see him, you all hyped up and it's time to go, right? But before that, you seeing all the different floats. They're all pretty. You're seeing all the big blow up characters and everything, and you're still looking like, dang, I don't think Santa gonna come. And then the next thing you know, who coming around the corner? Down the street, you see them approaching you. Okay, it's just like that. You don't know what's really gonna come, but if you put the work into it, you don't know how it's gonna come. But if you are there doing the work, whatever it takes to get you there, then that's all that matters. I'm not a Christian, but I do believe if you have that faith, if you do believe in yourself, that you can make all things possible. Okay, I remember when moving to Houston was just a idea, right? I took all the steps. I did all the things. I came and visited. I didn't tell anyone until I knew for sure. I told everyone and they doubted me. And then I came, I moved here. I had to move back home. I had to go back home for a year and a half. It didn't look good. It looked like it wasn't going to happen. And then I made that switch, came right back to Houston, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Can't nothing stop you but you. I don't care who's around you. And if the people around you are not supporting you to make your dreams happen, then you need to get rid of them because you don't need that type of energy anyway. That's how I feel. Okay? Because I knew when I had to go back home to help my parents, a lot of people were doubting me that I was going to come back. They were like, you ain't going to go back. You ain't nobody doing all that back and forth moving. I'm older. I'm 44. They're like, yeah, she ain't doing all that. Then when I came back, it's a lot of people who are not talking to me. A lot of my family members, they're not even talking to me. They act like they're mad at me and I didn't do anything to them but move. But a lot of times people do not like change. They don't like change, and they don't like to see other people change as well. You know, it's a lot. It's I told y'all about this. I had someone that called me and told me I couldn't sell insurance. Y'all, I make great money selling insurance. I am successful selling insurance, okay? I have my own insurance business, okay? And I was told that I couldn't sell insurance. How many people you know sell insurance and get their own agency? Not many, but I have mine. Okay? So believe in yourself because people can't see your dream for you. And that's not even for them to see. That's for you to see. This is your journey. All right? Okay, I'm gonna stop preaching. But it is Sunday. Okay, so amen it up. All right. But yes, you guys, I hope that gave you some motivation to get this week started. I know I know. I know. It can be a struggle. It's a headache. Working for yourself is not easy. Okay. A lot of times I don't know when I'm going to get paid, but I still get my butt up and I put the work in. I make the calls I need to call, I need to make. I still, get those policies submitted because that's why I'm here, right? That's what I'm here to do. So if you're not doing the do, what the hell are you doing? Okay? What are you doing? If you're not living your best life, then you're wasting your freaking time. And life is freaking great. I'm going to tell y'all, life is awesome. It's amazing. Get you some. Okay? Peace, you guys.